Hi everyone. We will get started in maybe around a minute or two, and we'll just let some people filter in first. But we're super excited to have you here today. How's your day going, Ben?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Enjoying the sunny weather now. A bit cloudy this
Yeah,
morning, but it's all good.
it's always very nice.
How about you? How's your day going?
Yeah, it's going good, mate. It's going good. It's nice. Well, it's actually quite grey back in Belfast, which is always good. Classic. Um, we'll let a few more people filter in before we get going. Uh, okay, we can get started. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to one of our Token Talks webinars. We're super excited to have you all join us for today's session. If you don't know who I am, I'm Curtis, our marketing lead here at Token, and we have Ben, who's Token's senior creative partner, who will be talking about how you can unlock growth through optimization-led creative. The session today will run for around 30 minutes and we will have a live Q&A at the end of the session. So if you do have a question for Ben, please feel free to type them into the Q&A section at any time during the webinar. I'll be able to collect these while Ben is presenting, and then we will try to get through as many as possible at the end. So I will now hand over to Ben to take you through today's session.
Cool, thanks Curtis, thanks for the intro. But yeah, I remember when I first joined Toucan back in 2018, I think content was in a much different state to where it is now. And I guess along with our senior leadership team, were kind of on a mission to change that, which of course has led me here today to kind of talk you through how to unlock growth through optimization and creative. But to but to understand why this matters, it's kind of helpful to look at how Amazon has evolved. So I guess about 10 years ago, most listings were like purely functional, kind of a product image, title, few bullet points, and that was enough. Competition was also lower, and shoppers didn't expect much in terms of content. But today, that's completely changed. Now the brands that win are the ones that treat their listings like conversion assets. So you kind of see rich visuals, infographics, lifestyle imagery, clear messaging, kind of everything is designed to guide the shopper to remove friction to purchase. So I guess in other words, content isn't just there to inform like it used to. It's kind of now there to make sure it converts the consumers into purchases. And that's exactly why optimization-led creative has become so important. But one of the most common challenges we see across brands is what we call the growth ceiling problem. I guess at first things look great. You kind of maybe increase ad spend, traffic goes up, and revenue follows. But then something starts to break. Traffic keeps rising, but conversion rates plateau. Kind of ad costs continue to rise, but efficiency drops as well. And despite spending more, your listings don't actually improve. But at the same time, competitors with stronger content, so better images, better messaging, better positioning, start to take market share. This is what it looks like in simple terms. So obviously, like I said, traffic goes up, but then conversion stays flat. And that gap is where growth stalls. But I think the key takeaway here is simple. Ads drive traffic, but creative converts it. So if you want to break through that growth ceiling problem, the answer isn't just to spend more, it's better creative that actually turns traffic into customers. So if ads drive traffic, but creative converts it, the question becomes, how do we actually improve creative in a scalable way? This is where optimization-led creative comes in. Optimization-led creative is about designing Amazon content using real performance data, testing insights and shopper behavior, all with one goal, maximizing conversion. If we simplify the system, it looks like this. Traffic comes in, it hits your content, which drives conversion and ultimately revenue. Most brands focus heavily on traffic, but the real leverage point here is the content. And doing this well comes down to four things: making data-driven creative decisions, continuously testing and iterating, aligning every touch point, and designing specifically for how shoppers on Amazon actually behave. In other words, creative stops being subjective and it starts becoming a performance system. So if content is the lever, the next question is, what does that actually mean in practice? On Amazon, conversion isn't just driven by one asset, it's built across multiple touch points. It starts with the main image. This is what often wins the click. Then your listing images take over, explaining the product and persuading the shopper. From there, your brand store builds trust and allows deeper exploration, and A+ content reinforces your value and removes any remaining doubt. Each of these play a different role, but together they drive conversion. And if one of these breaks down, you often lose the sale. So let's start with arguably the most important touch point, the main image. This is the very first thing a shopper sees in search, and it's not just viewed in isolation, it's competing with 20 or more other products at the exact same time. That means your main image isn't just about looking good, it's about standing out instantly next to competitors. It directly influences click-through rate, but also conversion because it sets expectations for what the shopper before the shopper even lands on your page. And if you don't win the click, nothing else really matters. And because of that, it has a direct impact on click-through rate, conversion rate, and ultimately your ad efficiency as well. So what does that actually look like in practice? This is what we typically see. A standard product image, small, functional, not doing much to stand out. We analyzed the original main image and identified several reasons why it wasn't performing as strongly as it could. First, the product visual was a bit too small, meaning it lacked presence in search and mobile. Second, the image felt less vibrant and less focused than the product does in real life, so that wasn't fully reflecting the quality of the brand. The product also appeared to be floating in space with no shadow or grounding to help it feel more tangible. And finally, the angle was slightly looking down, almost as if the shopper was viewing it on a lower shelf, which reduced prominence. So now compare that to this. As you can see, we implemented a series of intentional creative updates. We increased the product size, making it appear as large as possible within Amazon's guidelines. We also increased vibrancy and sharpness so the pack better matched how it looked in real life. Then we updated the shadowing and angle, introducing a more premium top shelf view that gives the product greater presence and visual confidence. And all these changes together can have a direct impact on performance. And the result was a 124% uplift in glance views. Glance views are essential for essentially the number of times shoppers land on the product detail page. So it's a direct measure of how efficiently the main image is winning the click from search. In simple terms, the more glance views means more shoppers are choosing this product over competing listings in search results. What's more important here is the uplift didn't come from just increasing media spend, it came from improving the creative fundamentals that influence attention, prominence, and click intent. And by making the product larger, clearer, more visually premium, we made it easier for shoppers to stop, notice, and choose. Now, while these updates are specific to this product, the principles behind them are highly transferable. The same optimization levers, scale, clarity, vibrancy, visual grounding, and angle, can be applied across SKUs, categories, and other brands as well. So this goes to show that this isn't just a one-off improvement, it becomes a repeatable framework for increasing visibility and traffic across an entire portfolio. And this is exactly how small creative changes can unlock disproportionate growth against performance gains at scale. So, once you've won the click, the job of your listing images now is to do one thing: help the shopper understand and decide. The highest performing listing images aren't just random, they follow a very clear structure. What we're looking at here is our recommended framework for structuring a high converting listing image set. The goal isn't simply to have more images, it's to present the right information in the right order. Each image should answer a specific shopper question and progressively more move them close to purchase. So again, it starts with the main image, which again, like we know, has one job: stop shoppers mid-scroll and win the click. Next comes the key visual. From there, we move into key features, breaking down what makes the product valuable in a simple, digestible way. Then the in-use image helps shoppers visualize the product in real-life scenario. The range image then expands choice, showcasing flavors, variants, or complementary products within the Felix product catalog. And finally, we close with guidelines and trust-building content. But what's most powerful about the structure is that it dramatically reduces the time it takes someone to buy. Instead of forcing shoppers to search through bullets or scroll for answers, the image set proactively removes friction. Every key question is answered visually in a sequence before doubt has a chance to build. And for a brand like Felix, where shoppers are balancing maybe things like flavor choice, nutrition, and feeding confidence, this sequence becomes even more important as it helps the pet owner to quickly move from interest to confidence to purchase. So while this example is tailored to Felix, the framework itself is intentionally loose and repeatable. The same sequence can be adapted across categories by simply just changing the shopper question each image is designed to answer. The faster your content answers these questions, the faster your shoppers can make the decision. But building on the framework we've just covered, this is how we applied that structure directly to this Felix listing image set. The focus here was not to just create better looking images, but to design a sequence that answers shoppers' questions in the most efficient order possible. Every visual in this set has a very specific role within the conversion journey. Obviously, with the main image, which is designed to maximize stopping power in search with a 120 pack callout, as it's highly prominent, immediately communicating scale and value, while the Felix branding and flavor range remain instantly recognizable. The 120 pack banner is doing heavy conversion work here as well by anchoring bulk value immediately. Second, flavor variety. We've expanded the desirability through the second image as it quickly moves into flavor, showcasing the 4 irresistible variants within this pack. And for pet owners, flavor choice is one of the fastest decision levers, so servicing this early reduces any uncertainty. Using the circular flavor icons as well makes the options highly scannable on mobile too. Next, we move into balanced meals and nutritional reassurance. This answers the key question, is this good for my cat? Claims like 100% natural balanced meals and no added colorants help move from emotional appeal to rational reassurance. The fourth image then builds on that by going deeper into essential nutrients, vitamins, and omega content. This reinforces health credibility and helps justify multi-pack choice as well. We then introduce the Felix range, helping shoppers understand the wider ecosystem and other available variants. This is particularly powerful for cross-selling opportunities, repeat purchasing, and increased average order value. The branded shelf visual makes the wider range feel cohesive and easy to browse mentally as well. Finally, we close with the feeding guideline, which removes the last layer of hesitation around positioning and usage. For pet food, this is critical final reassurance point because it directly supports confidence, impact value, and longevity. But on the right, you can see how this translates into mobile detail page experience as well. The order ensures that the shopper first understands flavor and benefits, then quickly moves into reassurance and usage. That dramatically reduces the time it takes them to make a confident purchase decision. The power of this structure is also speed. By sequencing the Felix images around the natural questions a pet owner has. So what is it? What the flavors are? Is it healthy? How much do I feed? And what else is available? With all of those, we reduce friction and shorten the path to purchase. And this ultimately is what optimization-led storytelling looks like in practice. Every image here has earned its place. So this next slide brings the transformation into focus. By comparing the original Felix listing image set against the optimized conversion-led version. On the left, the original set contained all the right ingredients, but not in the right structure. The first issue was weak visual storytelling. While the images themselves contained useful information, the sequence didn't guide the shopper through a clear decision journey. The shopper was forced to work harder to connect flavor, benefits, nutrition, and usage. And the second issue was the unoptimized order. The key decision driving visuals like flavor variety and nutritional reassurance were not positioned early enough in the journey. That's important because these are some of the fastest questions pet owners need answered before buying. And then finally, there was no dedicated range visual either. This meant Felix was missing an opportunity to expand shopper choice, reinforce the wider product ecosystem, and increase average basket value. But on the right, as you can see, we restructured the same content in a much clearer conversion path. First, we championed the most important visuals, bringing flavor, variety, and balanced meal benefits much earlier in the sequence, which answered immediately the emotional and rational questions. Will my cat enjoy this? And is it good for them? Next, the order itself was optimized. The image set now follows the natural thought process for a pet owner. What is it? Flavor choice, rational reassurance, essential nutrients, broader range, and finally the feeding guidance. That dramatically reduces the cognitive effort required to make a purchase decision. In addition to that, we also introduced this range visual, which is a critical commercial lever. It helps shoppers understand the broader Felix ecosystem, encourages trade up and cross sell, and reinforces confidence in the brand. What's most important here is that the changes aren't just aesthetic. They're designed to reduce friction, improve clarity, and answer the highest priority shopper questions earlier. That means faster decision making, stronger confidence, and ultimately higher conversion potential as well. The same assets became significantly more effective simply just by improving the story, the sequence, and the overall shopper journey. Sorry. What makes this especially powerful is how efficiently the uplift was delivered. With just a £250 investment in the listing image set in itself, the optimized content drove a 1,540% return on investment. And when translated into top line impact, that equates to a 4.3% uplift in weekly sales over a 5-week period. And importantly, this came purely from improving content structure, storytelling, and image sequencing, not from increasing ad spend. This small creative investment, as you can see, unlocked a disproportionate commercial return. So the next evolution optimization-led content is a shift from standard A+ to premium A+. As those with keen eyes can see, on the left, we have standard A+ content. This gives brands a solid baseline, allowing up to 5 modules to communicate product benefits, showcase imagery, and add a layer of storytelling beyond the listing images. For many brands, this is often where the journey starts. It's functional, clean, and effective at reinforcing key product messages. But the challenge is that it's still relatively static. The number of modules is capped, interactivity is limited, and there's no ability to introduce richer elements like video, hotspots, or enhanced comparison experiences. So while it informs, it doesn't fully immerse the shopper. But on the right, we move into Premium A+, which is where the experience becomes significantly more powerful. Here, brands unlock additional modules, more flexible layouts, and interactive formats that create much richer storytelling environment. The inclusion of hotspots, video, richer comparisons, and separate desktop and mobile experiences means the content can be designed around how shoppers actually browse, meaning that makes the journey feel less like reading a product page and more like exploring a branded experience. As you can see, the 2 mobile examples in the center really bring this to life. The standard version does a good job of presenting the range in a structured, modular way, but the premium version feels more immersive and emotionally engaging, with stronger visual hierarchy, more storytelling depth, and a more premium brand presence. And for a brand like Quality Street, that richer storytelling is especially powerful because the emotional value of the product is just as important as the functional one. But for brands, Premium A Plus creates more space to tell a story, showcase craftsmanship, demonstrate usage moments, and guide cross-sell journeys. It transforms the overall PDP from a product information page into a truly branded experience. And for shoppers, that means less friction and more confidence to purchase. The experience is also easier to navigate, more visually engaging, and answers questions in a more intuitive way that reduces decision time and increases trust. So, while Standard A+ is a strong baseline, Premium A+ is where brands move from simply informing shoppers to truly influencing purchase decisions as well. But moving on, this slide shows exactly how we translated the move from Standard A+ into an optimized Premium A+ experience for Quality Street. On the left, we have the original standard execution. It does a good job of showcasing the product range and key confectionery favorites in a structured way. The visuals are strong, but the storytelling is still constrained by the standard module layout. The shopper gets the information, but the experience remains fairly linear and static as you move down the page. But in the center, we've rebuilt this into a premium A+ journey, where the same core assets become significantly more immersive. Our first major update is the expanded key visual, now spread across 2 larger banners. This gives the hero creative far more prominence, improves visibility on mobile, and creates a stronger emotional brand moment. Following that, we then introduce scrollable modules, which add an extra layer of interactivity while allowing us to house significantly more content without overwhelming the shopper. This is especially valuable for a brand like Quality Street, where multi-pack product variants, gifting moments, and seasonal packs all need space to be featured. Another major upgrade is the addition of on-offer hotspots. These allow shoppers to explore specific sweets, packs, or hero products in more detail directly within the content experience. that turns the PDP into a more discoverable, self-guided journey. On top of that, we also introduce comparison charts, which bring together pricing, reviews, product attributes, and call to actions. This helps shoppers quickly understand which pack or format best suits their needs, whether that's gifting, sharing, or personal treat moments as well. But one of the biggest advantages of Premium A Plus is the large number of modules and flexible layouts that gives us the ability to feature multiple products, pack formats, and sub-ranges within a single brand-led story. Instead of focusing on just one SKU, the page becomes a branded discovery experience that reflects the full Quality Street ecosystem. This is hugely powerful for increasing cross-sell, trade-up, and basket expansion as well. But for consumers, this feels, like I said, like less like a product page and more like browsing the Quality Street brand itself. And for the brand, it creates a far more space to tell stories around occasions, favorites, sharing, gifting, and the wider product portfolio. But in a whole, Premium A Plus transforms that static product content into a branded shopping experience that consumers will enjoy. But one of the most powerful advantages that I touched on previously for Premium A Plus is the ability designed specifically for the viewpoint the shopper is using. Mobile and desktop are fundamentally different browsing environments, and the way shoppers scan, scroll, and absorb information and make decisions changes depending on the screen size, pace, and intent. Premium A Plus gives us the flexibility to optimize for both. So as you can see on the left, you can see how the content is first built as a modular Premium A Plus structure, which gives us the flexibility to control hierarchy, spacing, comparisons, and storytelling depth. But the real power comes in how these modules are then adapted to the final viewing environment. For mobile, the design needs to be highly scannable and immediate. Typography becomes larger and bolder. The hero visual is prioritized earlier. Key claims and branding need to land in the first few seconds of scroll. And this works particularly well because most Amazon browsing happens on mobile, where shoppers are moving quickly and making fast decisions. On desktop, we can lean into larger hero storytelling moments and wider compositions. The extra horizontal space allows richer visual immersion, stronger product staging, and more impactful brand moments. And this is especially effective for emotional brands like Quality Street, where the occasion and gifting story matter as much as the product itself. The reason this works so effectively is because it removes the compromise that comes from one-size-fits-all design. Instead of forcing the same creative across every screen, we optimize the hierarchy, readability, and visual impact for the shopper's actual content, meaning less pinching, less zooming, less mismessaging, and less friction. The shopper gets the most important information in the format that's easiest for them to consume. And when the content is easier to consume, it's easier to trust and faster to buy. But for brands, this also means they can preserve the richness of the desktop brand story without sacrificing the speed and clarity required on mobile. It's the best of both worlds, immersive on desktop and efficient on mobile. But Premium Plus allows for that experience to flex around the shopper rather than forcing the shopper to adapt to the content. So the final piece of the puzzle is the brand store. This is where shoppers go when they want to explore, compare, and build confidence. A strong brand store builds trust, shows how products fit together, supports your ad traffic, and ultimately increases average order value. But this is where the many brands get it wrong. They treat their store like a catalog, so just a grid of products with no real structure or story. Whereas the best brands treat it like a guided experience, designed to help shoppers navigate, understand, and choose. So it's not just a store, it's a conversion environment. And when done right, it drives higher value purchases, not just more clicks. So how does that look like? What does that look like in practice? So at Toucan, we follow a simple, repeatable 5-step process. First, we audit, analyzing images, identifying what's holding conversion back. Then we move to insights. Then we move to insights, using data like click-through rate, conversion, shopper behavior to understand what's actually driving performance. From there, we create, building new assets based on those insights. We then test, validating through A/B testing and continuous iteration. And finally, we scale, rolling out what works to maximize impact. This turns creative into a continuous optimization loop, not guesswork, but a system that consistently improves performance over time. And taken together, these five phases give us a robust but flexible process, one that allows us to build stores that are both strategically grounded and commercially effective. Because we've applied this approach so many times, we know how to adapt it to different brands, categories, and shopper missions while keeping the same core discipline the same. So essentially, it's not just a design process, it's a repeatable framework for building brand stores that perform. So just taking a look at the first phase of our process in research and discovery. This is where we like to create the strategic foundation for everything that flows in the brand store. The goal here is to understand not just what the store could be, but what it needs to be in order to outperform the competitors. We begin with the competitor research, which means analyzing how other brands in the category are structuring their stories, what content themes they're leading with, how they're guiding navigation, and where the white space opportunities exist. We're there, we're looking for both best practice and missed opportunities. And this gives us a clear benchmark for what shoppers are already used to seeing and where we can then create meaningful differentiation. The second step is understanding where the current content is understanding where the current live content is today. Review the existing store PDP ecosystems to assess what's already working, what content can be reused, and where the biggest friction points are. This is an important efficiency layer because often the brand already has strong assets that just need to be restructured, reprioritized, or better aligned to the shopper journey. And additionally, it also helps us identify immediate quick wins before moving on to net new design. And the final part is discovery. Is discovery in looking beyond Amazon. Review direct-to-consumer websites, landing pages, campaign creative, and social channels to understand how the brand is already telling its story elsewhere. And this is especially powerful because some of the strongest brand moments often already exist outside the marketplace. And by bringing inspiration from D2C and social to the store strategy, we create a much more cohesive brand experience across different touch points. But once the discovery phase gives us the strategic inputs, we then move into phase two, wireframing. This is where we translate insight into a structured shopper journey. At this stage, we're not just focused on visual design yet, we're focused on hierarchy, flow, and commercial intent. And the key objective here of wireframing is to map the order in which the shoppers encounter content, ensuring every module has a clear role within the design journey. This gives us a blueprint for how the store should educate, inspire, and convert. So once the wireframing is approved, we then move into phase three, implementation, where the structure becomes a fully branded, shoppable experience. This is where we introduce the brand's visual identity in a purposeful way, making sure every asset is working toward both recognition and conversion. We also look to introduce brand assets with purpose. So the first priority of this phase is integrating key brand assets in a highly intentional fashion. That includes logos, color systems, campaign visuals, typography, pack renders, and hero imagery, all introduced in a way that reinforces the brand world without disrupting the shopper journey. And the final phase of the process is data analysis. This is where we move from design assumptions to real-world shopper behavior. So once the store is live, the data tells us exactly how effectively the experience is performing and where the next optimization opportunities exist. The goal of this phase is to understand how shoppers are interacting with the store, where the engagement is strongest, and where friction may still exist. This turns the brand store into a living asset that continuously improves over time. But just like with Premium A+, our approach to the brand store design is built around mobile and desktop optimization from the very beginning. We never treat one screen as a default and adapt later. Instead, we intentionally design for how shoppers behave in each environment, always with conversion as the priority. And for most brands, the majority of the store traffic now comes through mobile devices, which means the experience needs to flow flawlessly within a fast-scrolling, high-intent environment. And on mobile, my priority is speed of understanding. Hero messaging needs to land instantly, product grids need to surface purchase options quickly, and shoppable lifestyle assets need to create clear tap points that shorten the path to purchase. But just recapping quickly, This was a really like brief run through some of the kind of key touch points that we focus on at Toucan in terms of optimizing the PDP and then moving to other areas of the Amazon ecosystem, such as the brand store. But as you can see, main image always looks to win the click. Listing imagery helps to explain and persuade. A plus reinforces value, and then brand store helps to deepen that consideration and purchase to intent. But summarizing those insights, creative principles that drive conversion are simple, proven principles that guide high-performing Amazon content and maximize conversion. So some of the key takeaways involve things like leading with benefits, designing for mobile first, always champion storytelling, and make the product dominant. But if there's one final key takeaway to hold on to, it would be that creative is never cosmetic. It's one of the most powerful drivers of performance on Amazon today. But with that, that wraps me up. But yeah, be happy to stick around and answer any questions that the audience may have today.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks so much for that, Ben. It's great to see how creative plays such an important role today on Amazon and how each of the key creative elements can work together. We've got a few questions here that we can quickly go through. One of the first questions we have is talking about AI and kind of what role does AI play in optimization-led creative?
Yeah, I mean, I guess obviously big question at the moment is how AI filters into everything that we do, and yeah, obviously content is one of the kind of key areas for that at the moment as well. But I think for us at Toucan, how that can filter in is it kind of help us not just from a kind of visually creative standpoint, but it also helps us to understand things like shopper intent and kind of which questions shoppers might have between different categories. So if I'm looking back at that Felix example, you were able to use a lot of AI functionality to help us understand what kind of questions the consumer might have within that category when browsing on Amazon for those products. So that was able to help us then inform our design decisions, help us with each individual image, but also overall help us to understand how we kind of laid out the product listing image order to make sure we were answering those questions in the right order, to make sure we allowed for purchase intent to build rather than someone maybe dropping off midway through the product listing image. So yeah, it can help a lot in lots of different areas across the PDP and beyond as well.
That's great. Thanks, Ben. Another question we have, where should a brand start if they can only optimize one thing first?
Yeah, I guess for that one, I think it's kind of important to obviously understand like your immediate goals. Obviously, there's a lot of you can come at it from a lot of different areas, but I would say if we're picking one thing to focus on, I think optimizing that main image is often, as you've already seen, like very
Mhm.
important. So yeah, I would say optimizing the main image first, because obviously that kind of is the first touch point that a consumer will see on the product search page, or even if they've navigated to the product detail page via an ad as well. So it's very important to kind of set the kind of consumer journey up well by making sure that your main image is fully optimized before any kind of content is kind of introducing itself to the consumer on that shopping journey as well.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks for answering. I'm conscious that we've ran slightly over, so we will call it there. But I want to say a massive thanks to everyone for joining our Took and Talks webinar today, and we hope it's been super useful for you. If you would like to get in touch with Ben regarding today's session, or you would like to maybe see how Toucan can help optimize any of your creatives, please get in touch with Ben through email at ben@toucanecommerce.com. But thanks again, everyone, and we hope to see you at another Toucan Talks event, whether that is online or in person in the near future. So I hope everyone has a great rest of their week, and thanks everyone for coming. Cheers.
Thank you. See ya.